Let me put it this way. I would not want to be in the Secret Service right now.
Yeah. I'm surprised they can even still recruit for those agencies. Like, who the hell would want to work for them?
Well, that's the problem, is no one wants to work for them. Because especially, did you see the Washington Post article that came out today?
Mm-mm.
So Times came out with something last week, and which was like a scathing, basically the mantra is you ride your horse until it dies and then you eat it.
Damn.
Guys are working, and this was an issue. This has been an issue for a long time. So they have what's called like law enforcement availability pay, LEAP, L-E-A-P. So guys on details, and when I say guys, I'm using that word collectively. Guys are working details right now. What month are we in? October, right? They're just now getting paid for overtime in like July. Because they can't make more. They're like capped at how much they can make every year.
Oh, so they have to wait for the fiscal year to end to get their next.
And it used, and don't quote me on this, but
just because they're working so much overtime, or what?
Because Secret Service like 15 years ago had like 26 mandated protectees, and now they're at like 50 something. And there's not enough people to do the job. As an outsider looking in, I think what Secret Service needs to do is Secret Service should only be responsible for the protection of the president and the vice president. That's it. Period. Stop. Full stop. End it. Credit card fraud should go to Treasury. Counterfeiting.
Do they still do cyber too?
Cyber's, I think, under Homeland. Don't quote me on that, but I think cyber's under Homeland.
Communication.
Take counterfeiting. So credit card fraud and counterfeiting, give it back to Treasury, which is where Secret Service really came from. And any other like visiting home state, kick it over to DOD or privatize it. Because what you can't have is all of these people doing all of these things that they don't know what to do. Like one of the big problems with what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania is that the site agent was like some guy at Pittsburgh that had never been on a protective detail. So he's doing a site survey off of like a checklist, and he looks at the roof and he looks at the stage and goes, is there a line of sight? And he goes, no, there's a tree there. Because the guy's not a vet and he's never been on a protective detail, doesn't think that bullets go through leaves, which they very easily do. Yeah. Right. And so they didn't think to put anyone on the roof. And
that's just the incompetence. Like, we just assume because they're there that they know what that they can do their job. They can't. Like, they appoint, they hire people for ridiculous reasons that have nothing to do with the outcome of their job efficiency. And, you know, it's a lot of it is just security theater. It is. Like when you look at a Marines, and I'm just using the Marine security guards as an example that everyone can relate to. You see the Marine security guard out front of an embassy, or like the guys from 8th and I, that like at Arlington, they're in their spits and their starches and they're doing the drills and everything's crisp and clean and they look professional. And then you talk to that guy and you realize that he can't put a fucking sentence together. It just looks the part. Yeah. Right. Secret Service has been able to trade on their name for so long that everyone thinks they're Clint Eastwood in The Line of Fire, when really they're Dilbert from the mock-up. Yeah. Right. Well, we saw it at Trump's the assassination attempt. That chick everybody was making fun of, just dancing around in circles, didn't know where to look, didn't know what to do.
Which is one of those things where it's like, and this gets back to training, right? Remember like 10 years ago when someone hopped the fence at the White House because the fence was only like 6 feet tall, and they're like, oh, we're going to make it a bigger fence. Yeah. And we're actually do you know where they're training Secret Service agents right now who move from like field work to the President's detail? They send them to Atlanta so that they can work on a set that, who's the guy that does like Medea's? Tyler Perry.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So Tyler Perry has a studio down in Atlanta. Okay. On one of those sets, like I don't remember what movie it was, but he has a fake, like presidential suite, like White House thing. They're training on a fake movie set. Nice. On how to be a Secret Service agent, because the money that was allocated 10 years ago to completely overhaul the Secret Service training facility in like Bethesda, Maryland, is still like, the training facility still like gets 6 feet underwater every time it rains.
If they're going to print money in the basement, why are they also neglecting this shit? Like they can make it up out of thin air, right? Pay your bills.
Government efficiency is like so. The only thing that I can think is that the outcome is what is intended, because if the effectiveness of a system is evaluated by its results,
then these are the results that you must want.
This has got to be intentional, right?
Right? Because otherwise,
so who's pulling the strings to make us all this incompetent mess over here?
Well, I think one of the things that I saw on my side of the house when I was like on the protection side was, why are we going to keep investing all this money when something never happens? Right? They're willing to roll, and I see it because now that I do like the expert witness work, I see this all the time on like festivals or concerts or stadiums, where basically security becomes like the last line item on the budget,
right? Because
it's a lot of money to prevent all these things that might not happen. So if you're an actuary who's doing like a cost risk analysis,
right,
it's, if something happens, it's going to be catastrophic, but the risk of it happening is very low.
Right.
So if you're looking at the likelihood of something happening, if something were to happen, it would be very bad. The likelihood of something happening is very low. But since the number one factor of target selection is likelihood of success, the likelihood of something happening is low, but if somebody wanted to do it, it's high.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to measure the absence of an event. Right.
Exactly.
Like, you can't measure that it was prevented because the one dude gave him the guy a little bit longer look and made him go, "Ooh, not today, fuck it."
But to that end, when a military-aged white male shows up at your rally with a rangefinder
and a rifle and a ladder,
well, no, because he showed up just initially with just a rangefinder,
yeah,
right, and then he left. But maybe, I don't know, maybe have a conversation with that guy about, hey, and it doesn't even need to be like, overtly confrontational, right? Oh, what's that? Oh, you use that one. Oh, I use this one. What do you use?
Totally.
Do you just like make him tell you the story, and then you can get, if you ever sat like in interrogations or enhanced otherwise, or just even field interviews. There's a difference between when someone's telling you a story and someone's selling you a story, and so you can figure out if they're bullshit, and then if it's bullshit, you put some eyes on them, so that when he does leave and walks out to his car and pulls the rifle out of the truck, you arrest.
I agree. All that should have happened.
But it doesn't, because no one's had to do a field interview.
Well,
and the person who's working the magnetometers isn't a Secret Service agent. It's some and whisper down the lane guy.
And when everybody's just a fill-in, and you have a big event like that, I think there's at least an element where they all kind of assume somebody else would have done it if it was a problem, right? Like if that was a big issue, surely that guy already questioned him. Like, I don't need to, I'm just going to stand here and keep scrolling on my phone.